Hi, welcome back. My name is Surya, and in this video, we will be learning how to describe static bar charts in IELTS Writing Task 1. Before we begin, I recommend watching the video titled Understanding Bar Graphs if you haven't seen it yet. In that video, we explored the two main types of bar graphs, horizontal and vertical, and discussed the key differences between static and dynamic data. We also looked at some examples to help you better identify and understand each type more effectively. You will find the link to that video in the description below. Having a clear understanding of those basics will make it much easier for you to follow the description we are about to go through. So, if you are ready, let's get started. Now let's take a closer look at the bar graph we are working with. First, what does the graph show? It presents the average number of hours per day that males and females from different age groups spend on social media, according to a survey conducted in 2023. Next, is this a static or dynamic bar graph? Well, since the data refers to just one point in time, the year 2023, it is a static bar graph. There is no change over time shown here. Instead, we focus on describing the main patterns and comparisons between age groups and genders. So how do we structure our description? You can just follow the same structure as you would for a line graph. Start with an introduction where you paraphrase the task, then give an overview, highlighting the main patterns or comparisons, and finally, write one or two body paragraphs to explain the details and make comparisons. Alright, now that we understand the type of graph and the structure, let's move on to writing each part. Now let's write the introduction for this bar chart. Remember, the introduction is simply a paraphrased version of the original question. We are not including data yet, just restating the graph's purpose in our own words. Start by reading the question carefully and identifying the words or phrases you can paraphrase. Here is an example of a well-written introduction. The bar chart illustrates the average daily time spent on social media by males and females across 6 different age groups based on a 2023 survey. Let's quickly look at how the original question has been paraphrased. And you can see the color coding and understand exactly how the words from the question have been changed. First, the word shows has been changed to illustrates. Number of hours per day has been shortened to daily time. Next, instead of saying from different age groups, we have used across 6 different age groups. Then, the verb spend is changed to spent to reflect the 2023 survey data. Finally, according to a survey conducted in 2023, becomes based on a 2023 survey to give a clear context about when the data was collected. These small changes help create a strong and well-structured introduction without copying the original wording. Now that we have written the introduction, let's move on to the overview and highlight the main patterns in the graph. The overview gives a clear summary of the main patterns in the graph, focusing on the overall picture without using any specific data or numbers. This is your chance to show the examiner that you can understand the big picture. Let's look at the graph closely. What do we notice? First, social media usage decreases with age. Younger people use it more and older people less. Second, males generally spend more time on social media than females. But there is an exception. In the 26 to 35 and 36 to 45 age groups, females slightly surpass males. These are the key points we will include in our overview. Here is a good example of it. Overall, social media usage tends to decline with age for both genders. Males generally allocate more time to these platforms than females, particularly in the younger age groups. However, this pattern reverses slightly in the 26 to 35 and 36 to 45 age categories, where females show marginally higher usage. So this overview is short, clear, and covers the main features. Let's move on to the body paragraphs next. Let's now break down body paragraph 1, which focuses on the younger age groups 13 to 25 years old. First, we begin with the group that uses social media the most. It's always a good idea to start with the most noticeable data. In this sentence, we also make a comparison within the same age group, that is, males versus females, using a clear structure. To begin the paragraph, we use a connector to signal that we are now moving into the detailed description. You can use phrases like looking at the details or according to the graph to make your writing flow more smoothly. For example, we can start the body paragraph this way. Looking at the details, the highest usage is observed among 19 to 25-year-old males, who average 7.7 hours per day, followed closely by females of the same group at 7.2 hours. Next, we move to the next age group, the teenagers. Here too, we begin with the group, give the male figures first, and then compare it with the female figure. We also use different vocabulary to avoid repetition. The next sentence can be, teenagers aged 13 to 18 also show substantial engagement, with males averaging 7 hours daily, while females record a slightly lower figure of 6.2 hours. We use phrases like substantial engagement to avoid repeating high usage and maintain lexical variety. These two sentences describe the youngest and most active users and include clear comparisons between males and females. Now let's move on to the second body paragraph. Our second body paragraph focuses on the middle to older age groups, those aged 26 to 60 and above. We start this paragraph with an interesting observation. The gender pattern reverses in the 26 to 35 age group. Here, females slightly surpass males, which is a key point to highlight. Again, we make a direct comparison between the two genders using specific data. We begin with a contrast connector. In contrast, because the pattern we are about to describe is different from the trend in body paragraph 1. We can write it this way. In contrast, in the 26 to 35 category, females record slightly higher usage than males. In the next sentence, we continue this trend. Females still report slightly more time than males. To avoid repeating the same structure, we use a variation in phrasing and write this way. A similar trend is seen in the 36 to 45 age group, with women averaging 4.5 hours and men 4.3. Now we shift to the older age groups, where the original pattern, males using more than females, returns. To show this contrast clearly, we use a linking word like whereas. For users aged 46 to 60, males return to higher usage at 3 hours per day, whereas females spend 2.7 hours. Finally, we describe the 60-plus age group, which shows the lowest figures overall. The lowest figures are noted in the 60-plus category, where men report 2.5 hours per day and women log 2 hours. We end the paragraph by showing the lowest usage in the oldest age group, using varied vocabulary like report and log instead of repeating spent. This paragraph, along with the first, clearly shows how social media usage varies with age and gender, and how the pattern shifts across groups. We have now looked at each part of the response, the introduction, the overview, and both body paragraphs step by step. Now let's put it all together and look at the complete description of the graph. Pause here and read through the complete description. Notice how the ideas are organized clearly and how comparisons are made logically using accurate data and varied vocabulary. Now that you have seen the complete description, let's take a closer look at the language features used. Can you identify the connecting phrases? These are words or expressions that help guide the reader smoothly from one idea to the next. Now try to identify the comparison and contrast language, the words and phrases that show similarities or differences. And finally, look out for the data reporting verbs which help us describe the numbers without always using spend. Take a moment to go through the description again and try to find examples of each. I'll show you the answers in just a moment. Now let's look at the description with color coding applied to different language features. Yellow shows signposting or transition phrases that guide the reader. For example, phrases like looking at the details or in contrast show where a new idea or comparison is introduced. Green highlights comparison and contrast language. These expressions show how things are similar or different, such as marginally higher usage, highest usage, or slightly lower figure. Turquoise marks the data reporting verbs used instead of repeating the word spend. The description uses other verbs like allocate, record, log, and report. These features help make the writing organized, clear, and varied. Finally, in the description, you may also have noticed that the present simple tense is used throughout. For example, in the body paragraphs, you can find verbs such as allocate, show, average, spend, record, and log. In the next video, we will cover the tenses you can use when describing static bar graphs, dynamic bar graphs, and line graphs. Thank you for watching. I hope this video gave you a clear understanding of how to describe static bar graphs. Stay tuned for upcoming videos and best of luck with your exam preparation. If you found this content useful, feel free to share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe for more IELTS tips and lessons.